This is 5 on 20 News with Frank Powers
and Joel Foster coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It is Friday.
Oh, it's casual
Friday. Get this, I'm getting casual here.
Oh.
February 9th.
Is that what it is?
It is February 9th, yeah.
All right.
Scooting along here.
Speaking of scooting along, let's move that teleprompter a little faster.
First in local headlines. All right, ICE officials in Arizona can now use license plates for investigations, according to an ICE spokesman, Danny Bennett. The agency recently signed a contract with the state to obtain a license plate reader to be used in the investigations. Bennett says that ICE is not seeking, sorry, I'm going a little slow today.
Yeah, let's go.
Bennett says that ICE is not seeking to build a license plate reader database and will not collect or contribute any data to a national, public, or private database. I hadn't even thought of that, but ICE tried for a similar contract back in 2014, but stopped short due to privacy concerns. The following year, ICE created a, quote, privacy impact assessment to describe the controls ICE must be put in place to ensure that they complied with privacy and civil liberty requirements. But after the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigrations, ICE threw out the assessment, admitting that it was just a bunch of doodles anyway.
It's probably true. That makes sense. I'll tell you, I don't think we have time to banter because now we got to read this news fast. We got to keep it slow. That's the way to go. All right, here we go. No, go back in the other direction. No. I know it's your first day. It's fine. No, I'm gonna have a fun time with this guy.
What does an ICE agent doodle, do you think?
What does he doodle? The only thing I can think of is probably just sad, frowny faces.
Yes.
Just a lot of sad faces.
Yeah. Maybe rain clouds.
Yeah. Their highlighters are even just a sad tan, not that nice yellow. So, a bill introduced by several Arizona lawmakers would make it compulsory for schools to provide education on preventing child sex abuse. This is very, very important. So the Department of Child Safety and the Department of Education would be tasked with creating the program if the law passes. Teachers would be trained to teach prevention and identification of abuse and be given resources to bring awareness to the issue. School children will also get age-appropriate material about awareness and prevention. The program would also promote disclosure and reduce self-blame among children. Parents would be able to opt out of the program if they were uncomfortable with the subject matter, as it is a touchy subject there. Critics of the proposal argue that these types of conversations should be discussed in the home and not at school, and that's some of the problem. They say that school is where you learn how to smoke cigarettes in the bathroom without getting caught and how to quietly receive a hand job in math class.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, I like those isosceles versions of those.
Sure.
A little extra mustard.
All right. Bad news here. Water services will likely rise in Tucson by 7 to 8% starting in July and every year through 2022, according to a proposal by the Citizens Water Advisory Committee. The group presented a variety of water plans to Tucson City Council this month. While the 4 alternative plans differ, the average price for water would increase an average of $2 to $3 per month for the next 4 years. High-intensity water users, such as farms and plant nurseries, will likely see their rates increase even more. The price increases go towards helping Tucson Water pay for fixed costs like infrastructure, wages, and maintenance, since the water department does not get help from the city's general fund. While some have complained about the future cost increases, Timothy Thomore, director of Tucson Water, said that without conservation efforts, the price increases would be more like 12% higher than they are now. Conserving water has been a priority for Tucson, especially since an Arizona Department of Resources report said that the state could face the biggest water shortfall since 2002. However, Tucson Water is planning for water shortages and say that there's no reason to panic, even if water in Lake Mead, the city's main source for water, becomes depleted. But it's worth stating that people usually say there's no reason to panic right before there's a reason to panic. The city of Tucson is advising that residents carry around empty canteens just in case it rains. But again, no reason to panic.
No, why would there be a reason to panic?
No, I didn't even think of that.
I'm sure aren't they building Thunderdome on the outskirts of the city so that we can go fight for the water in the future?
Yeah, it's taken care of. It's good. Just get those muscles.
I need the muscles is one thing. Are you kidding? Look at this. But I think the battle armor.
Sure, you need Master too.
Yes,
little guy.
That's right, Lord Humongous. We got to get him. I think I saw him working for the TEP for a while. He's got to transfer over to the water department.
Yeah, you're right.
It's very true. I read I'm going to stay with it because I read an Onion article once that just said, man wastes amount of water while brushing teeth that will one day be grand prize in tournament of death. because that's where we're headed. It's a desert, it's fun. Dry heat, not very wet. But all right, so speaking of Tucson, the city of Tucson. The city of Tucson is looking to clear downtown's, how do I pronounce that? Jacame Park of homeless citizens so that residents can use the area. Jacame Park has long been a permanent encampment of homeless people with nearly 80 people regularly occupying the area. When the Gem Show comes to town, I gotta write a song about that, police often move them out of the park only to have the homeless population return weeks later. It's kind of like the Swallows of Capistrano, except not as romantic. So the Downtown Tucson Partnership says that the people don't feel uncomfortable in the space because of cleanliness issues and instances of crime. The partnership developed a plan last fall along with Old Pueblo Community Services called DTP Connects, which has reduced crime by 93% in the area. That is a lot. Under the program, the group was able to find permanent housing for 54 homeless since November 1st of last year, which is excellent. The agencies pool their resources to find a place for the homeless to live and provide other services they might need, such as food stamps, healthcare, and jobs. On February 6th, the partnership stated that the second phase of the program to find homes for the homeless had begun. Representatives from Old Pueblo spent 3 hours every Tuesday and Thursday trying to find those who are likely to be chronically homeless, such as those with mental, drug, or alcohol issues. They should stop by my house. Those unable to find a home will be shipped to some park in Phoenix. I think that's a good plan.
To be determined.
Yes, I believe that worked for Colorado, getting things to, I believe it was California. But that's because I get my news from South Park.
All right, a bill sponsored by Arizona Representatives Daniel Hernandez and Kate Brophy-McGee would provide statewide protections for LGBTQ people for the first time. 5 cities in Arizona, including Tucson, have similar protections in place, but there is no state law to prevent LGBTQ people from being fired, denied housing, or refused services based on their sexual orientation. Hernandez said that the bill would not only benefit those in the LGBTQ community, but also be good for the state's economy because it would attract and retain top talent in business. Hernandez said it also happens to be the right thing to do. Who would have thunk? The bill is supported by One Community, an LGBTQ business group, who said that the bill will likely receive strong backing from companies in Arizona. They said that over 2,600 businesses have already voiced their support for LGBTQ inclusive non-discrimination by signing the Unity Pledge. So far, the bill has received 2 readings in the House and was signed to committee yesterday morning. If nothing else, Arizonans should support the bill to see the sad look on Paul Gozer's face when it passes.
Poor Gozer. Again,
Gozer's
I'm a Zool guy. I'm a Zool guy. That's a mouthful, LGBTQ. You got to say that too many times.
Yeah, I got it towards the end, but it's a little tough.
They need one of those acronyms that actually spells a word.
True.
Something like that. Make it say something nice like friend or something. We can come up with what the words mean. It'll be fine. Yeah. But I think it'll help save mouthfuls across the nation.
Sure. Audience, submit your proposals.
Yes, but don't send them here. So the government shutdown once again, although most of us slept through it. Congress passed another short-term spending deal to keep the government open until March 23rd, when Congress will try again to write a spending bill for the rest of the year. The $400 billion bill increases spending on both defense and non-defense programs and includes money for disaster relief, the opioid crisis, a 4-year extension of the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, and more. See, that works. The Pentagon will get an additional $165 billion this year. House Republicans voted 240 to 186 to approve the bill early this morning. Soon after, the president signed the bill. The passage came that after Republican Senator Rand Paul attempted to block the bill by demanding a vote on an amendment to keep the budget ceiling intact. However, most Republicans in both chambers ended up voting for the bill. Democrats mostly opposed the bill because it didn't include a promise to address the issue of the DACA program, which protects undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children and will expire in March if Congress doesn't take action soon. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell pledged to allow floor debate on immigration as soon as next week. However, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan refused to make the same pledge. In addition to most Democrats, some fiscal conservatives, such as Paul and Republican Senator Bob Corker, opposed the bill because they say it would increase the national debt, a frequent issue of contention for conservatives. Former Republican Representative Jason Chavetz said that Fox Business that the Republicans have lost every single bit of credibility on the idea that they care at all about debts and deficits after approving the bill. Sure, Because when we think about Congress, the first word that comes to mind is credibility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Credible bunch of them.
You know it. They're, you know,
always stand by their word.
Congress and credibility, they're both C words, and I'll tell you, the place is filled with some C words.
I was enjoying them like celebrating, like they were so proud of what they'd done. It's like, you kept the government open for a month.
Yeah.
Like, how low have we brought the bar now?
Oh, the bar.
Yeah,
Hang on a second. We're gonna have a tough time finding that. I believe it's been in the gutter along with a lot of values going on these days.
think
People
so.
like values still, right?
Yeah. And here's maybe a reason why.
Oh, good.
A study by the University of Oxford found that Trump supporters consume the largest volume of what they called junk news on Facebook and Twitter. The study came from the university's what's called Computational Propaganda Project and sought to find the most significant sources of junk news shared in the 3 months leading up to Donald Trump's first State of the Union address last month. The research looked at about 13,500 politically active Twitter users and a separate group of 48,000 public Facebook pages. Users were grouped together by labels such as conservative media, Trump supporters, resistance, hard conservative, women's rights, and military/guns. They said that Trump supporters shared the largest proportion of junk news, while on Facebook, the skew was even larger. They also found that extreme hard-right pages were shared more than all the other audiences put together. Hard-right groups dismissed the report as fake news and posted it on the Facebook group MAGA Jew Conspiracy. I think I got a couple uncles that are part of that group.
Oh yeah, that page is filled with uncles. That's honestly, I think, what's there. Listen, folks, stick to memes, okay? Have you seen that little kid that can't stop dreaming about waffles? Oh, it's adorable. Go check it out now. So Israeli police chiefs are planning to recommend that the country's attorney general seeks an indictment for corruption charges against Prime Minister, here he is, Benjamin Netanyahu. The Times of Israel reported that the chiefs were in unanimous agreement that Netanyahu should be indicted for allegedly accepting bribes and receiving lavish gifts from wealthy individuals, including Israeli-born Hollywood producer Aaron Micklin. The recommendation would be set to Attorney General, and he said there were no tough names, Avicii Mandelblit, I think, who will then decide whether to seek charges. In a Facebook video, Netanyahu acknowledged that the police would likely move to indict him, but he dismissed the allegations against him and predicted that Mandelblit would not seek charges against him. He said in the video that I am sure at the end of the day the competent legal bodies will come to one conclusion: the simple truth, there is nothing. He ended the speech by raising his fist and stating, "De fuck the police." That's right. I like that one.
Yeah.
You slipped that in. That was very clever. Joel writes these jokes, and let me tell you.
You know, sometimes they work.
Yeah.
And Netanyahu, that was like poetry the way you said that. It was music.
Netanyahu.
You nailed that.
He's got one of those fun names that's fun to say.
Yes.
For a monster.
All right. Listen to this. Canada's coming. Canadian solar companies are suing the Trump administration over recently imposed 30% tariffs on solar technology. The lawsuit was launched by 3 Canadian solar companies, Silfab Solar, Helien, and Canada Solar Solutions. In the lawsuit, the 3 Canadian solar companies said that since the country's solar imports do not harm U.S. producers, the tariffs violate the Trade Act and the North American Free Trade Agreement, better known as NAFTA. The president imposed the tariffs last month after receiving complaints from 2 U.S. solar companies that said that imported solar cells were hurting the industry. He said that the tariffs would help domestic manufacturers and create jobs. However, a majority of the solar industry opposed the tariffs and complained that they will actually eliminate jobs since the industry relies so heavily on imports. The companies involved in the lawsuit say that Trump did not demonstrate the high bar needed to impose tariffs on NAFTA countries. South Korea, Taiwan, and the European Union have also filed separate complaints with the World Trade Organization over the tariffs, although their complaints aren't nearly as polite as Canada's.
Well, whoever is as polite as Canada.
Yeah, they're the kings of polite.
It's true. They're the top. They're the top. And again, I get all my news from South Park. So
it's true.
You know it's true. Hey, buddy, you know it's true, friend. Come on, guy. So the Trump administration, them again. The Trump administration is weighing rules that target legal immigrants who receive government benefits, according to Reuters. The report states that the Department of Homeland Security is drafting plans to let officials look at some taxpayer-funded benefits to determine whether immigrants can be granted permanent residency in the U.S. This could include whether a person has received subsidies for health insurance premiums or enrolled a child in government preschool programs. The document states that non-citizens who receive public benefits are not self-sufficient and are relying on the U.S. government and state and local entities for resources instead of their families. Currently, immigration officials are told that a person who is likely to become a public charge should not receive permanent residency. But immigration officials are currently not allowed to look into most non-cash benefits that a person receives, whether a person will be a burden. If the new rule goes into effect, a public charge will also include immigrants who sleep too late, who dawdle too much, and who spend too much time on, quote, impractical hooey. You gotta watch out for that hogwash too and a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, the poppycockle.
Yep,
And that's going to ruin the country. I've always said that.
Hamburgers! Callback.
All right, more bad news for our immigrant friends.
Casual Friday.
Immigration rights groups are suing ICE for allegedly targeting activists for possible deportation, according to a report in The Intercept. The lawsuit claims that ICE was targeting outspoken immigration activists for surveillance and deportation in order to silence them, and that the action is intended to stifle dissent. One of the plaintiffs is immigration activist Ravi Ragbir, who was arrested last month. He released a statement saying, quote, "This lawsuit is not just about me, it is about all of the members of our community who are speaking out in our struggle for immigrant rights." Joining Ragbir is the New Sanctuary Coalition of New York City, Casa de Maryland, the Detention Watch Network, the National Immigration Project of the National Lawyers Guild, and the New York Immigration Coalition. ICE looks forward to surveying these groups over the next year and hope they get a better show than that boring Ragbir guy.
Ice, ice, baby. Too cold.
Too cold.
Too cold.
Exactly. Much
I'll
too
tell
cold.
you. I'm going to say something to you right now. There's a lot of news today.
I put a little extra. There was just a flood of news.
Yeah.
I was going to leave
Good
some
amount
out
of news.
But it's happy. There's a good one at the end. This is.
I hope so.
It ends happy.
I hope we have a happy ending
We have
today?
a happy ending.
Spoiler alert.
If you live in
it all works out.
If
Don't
you
worry.
live in Wisconsin.
Oh,
We
it's
should
only
put
for Wisconsin? Well, of course, we got all our Wisconsin viewers out there. It's good to see you. So, the University of Wisconsin-Madison will now offer free tuition and, wow, that is good.
Yeah.
And fee for in-state students from households that make less than $56,000 per year. The program is called Bucky's Tuition Promise and is the latest effort to make higher education more affordable and accessible. Similar programs are growing in popularity, with 6 other Big Ten colleges offering free higher education for lower-income families. Critics say that Bucky's Tuition Promise robs young people of the character-building experience of possessing crippling debt that makes every day a living nightmare. Not that I'm speaking from any experience or anything.
Not at all.
My
Debt-free,
heavens.
folks.
Good for them. New York has free college now for some of those
Yeah,
people. I'll
it's
say.
spreading.
It's true.
Come on, Arizona. Come on, Ducey. Let's do this.
Let's go, Doug. Give us some of that free edumacation. I might know how to pronounce that then. Any weekend plans, sir? It looks like that was the news. Any weekend
it.
plans?
No, not really. It's pretty nice and easy this
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah, nothing big. Anything you got going on?
I'm not doing much except working real hard for a little place I like to call Creative Tucson. That's
Oh.
right. That's right. So if you yourself want to get involved, you should send an email or simply go to our website. And I'm going to tell you a little thing about that website. The best page on the website, it's hidden at the bottom. It's got all the branding stuff that we can give you for free so that you can download it and then make your own content for this amazing channel in space that exists right in front of you. So that's what we're trying to do. So you should go to the website. It's creativetucson.org. Probably get one of those memberships. They're very, very easy and accessible. $5 a month. My goodness.
That's it.
Access to this lovely green screen. Did we fool you? We're not outside. It's a green screen. So go check out creativetucson.org. And again, like, share, and subscribe to everything we're doing on YouTube. Go check out Joel's old show from last week for This Week in Mediocrity.
I think it just was released pretty recently, so
Yeah.
you can see that. I'm hoping to put one together tomorrow. Maybe that'll be up by early next week.
There you go, something to look forward to for next week. So I hope you have a good weekend. It's Casual Friday. Joel, you're the best. Have a good one.
best.
This was 5 on 20 News with Frank Powers.
And Joel Foster.
Again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to all of our YouTube content. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and did we get a Snapchat yet?
I don't think so.
Because I just want to make our faces look like puppies.
I think we skipped over. Hey, yeah, we could do that, I guess.
It'll be a thing.
Yeah, all right.
And I've heard of Bumble, but I don't know what that one's about.
I think it's a dating.
Oh, let me
Maybe
get
we'll be on
it
Bumble
immediately.
too. Maybe
Yes.
you can date Creative Tucson. Who
That's what you
knows?
want to do. All right. So thanks for watching and stay creative, Tucson. Woo!
Fade into the back.
Oh, mother of God.